Hey Motley crew, welcome. So I'm going to be doing a Tales by Moonlight tonight, and as tonight, this afternoon, and as always, opening up the sacred space, I set the intention that I'm a clear channel of the highest truth, rooted in light and love, for my highest good and the highest good of the collective today, that as you hear me, see me, and exist in energetic space with me, you may receive healing energy to awaken you to your soul, to the truth of who you are for your spiritual ascension. I also ask that my spiritual team may maintain the energetic sovereignty of this space, so only energies that are of the highest light and of the highest love and truth may come through. So, mosquitoes are getting pretty bad. It just finished raining, and it will be drizzling on and off as I probably shoot this. And as you can hear, the roosters are doing their thing in the background. So, let's get to it, shall we? Oh, I had hold on. And we're back. So, I'm going to share with y'all my experience dealing with black magic and spiritual attacks, because I think it's important that when we talk about spirituality, energy, we also recognize that not everything is of the light. And in my own personal journey, that's something I had to deal with. I had to deal with a lot of negative entities, a lot of energies and entities that do not coexist with the light, because there is dark, right? And there are those who are of a darker nature, and then there are those who coexist with the light and can be both, right? Just like the day has the night and the sun for the light, and that equals a day. And so I want to just give y'all, I'm itchy, I'm gonna try not to itch. I'm gonna give y'all just a rundown of just my experience. So I grew up Christian, Catholic, and unbeknownst to me, my own family and those who were in Nigeria were doing black magic on me since I was a child. Since I was young, this is something that I have experienced, and it is only till now that I have the language and the understanding, but as a kid I didn't really realize what was going on. Like why I'd have so many nightmares, why I'd see so many dark entities, why I'd have out-of-body experiences and see things in my room or around me. And my immediate family is one of the very few that was able to come to America, and that created a lot of jealousy and a lot of greed and a lot of tension within the family that remained in Nigeria. And so that family that remained in Nigeria have been doing black magic not only on me but on my siblings and some other members of my family for years, for decades. And one of the first time I found this out was when I went to an energy healer, and that energy healer was in the process of giving me my first, at this time, experience with energy healing. It was she mentioned you've had a dark entity that has been following you around since you were a child. And I didn't know what that meant at the time, a couple of years ago. And it wasn't until I was in the process of learning how to heal myself and developing my abilities as a dibia and being and seeing things that it was brought to my attention that my family was doing black magic on me. And it was because I was in this process of healing, and I was trying to heal, and there were certain things that I was trying to heal and I just could not do it. And it was because they weren't mine to heal. There were things being done to me. And I was experiencing spiritual attacks in the form of energy thought forms being sent to me, like thoughts would pop up in my head, and I would get really down all of a sudden. And they weren't really my thoughts. They weren't thoughts that belonged to me, but thoughts that were being given to me through energy and sent to me. I found out that they had tried to sell me to a cult to harvest my energy, to harvest and take my destiny by sending dark entities to suck my life force. There would be times, especially during the menstruation period, right? Because if you have a uterus, during that time is a period of death, it's a period of shedding. And that is when those with uteri, you are sensitive. I like to liken it to like having a Dia de los Muertos, like a Day of the Dead, having that like every time you go through your menstruation period. So PMS, PMDD is often what I found was caused by having a susceptibility to negative, more darker entities, which can create more feelings of sadness, more feelings of suicidality, more feelings of depression, etc., etc. And so especially during this time before I learned to like really strengthen my spiritual hygiene and energetic hygiene as well as protection, I was finding myself more susceptible to these attacks. Like, the most recent one that I remember was like waking up and feeling an entity attached to me sucking on my body, or an entity trying to have intercourse with me. And so these were sent to me by my family in Nigeria to harvest my energy, to keep me stuck, to keep me small, to keep me quiet, to try and derail my destiny. And I don't say that very lightly, and it isn't an accusation, it's the truth, to keep me quiet so I wouldn't even come on here and tell and share this experience and be vocal with it. And so I've been experiencing these attacks since I was a kid. You know, my siblings and I, all of us were experiencing these attacks by people who were jealous, by people who were going to very, very, very dark magicians. You know, there's one thing about spell casting. You know, there's spell casting that is for the light, to help uplift, to help heal, to help someone ascend, to help them move forward in life. And there's dark magic, magic or spell casting that is meant to bind, that is meant to take someone's free will away. And that's what I was going through. Now, of course, because perception and my perception of reality matters, I thought I was susceptible to that, right? Because I thought that they could affect me. It did. And so I had to learn from myself, not only how to protect myself, but to change my mindset that these beings, these entities cannot and will not derail or bother me anymore, because I'm much more powerful than them. But in the process of experiencing this, it was very scary for me. You know, I would wake up not knowing what was going on, not knowing why I was experiencing such darkness, waking up like in fear of like going back to bed and having some sort of like entity like bother me or try to like sleep with me or try to suck my energy. It was very demoralizing and degrading, honestly. And to know that this is because of people who are connected to me by blood trying to do this to me, trying to harm me, really made me sad. It made me sad, and it made me upset, and eventually I got pissed off. But the first feeling was sad. I was like, this is just really sad. Really sad. The last time I went to Nigeria, and the thing about, you know, black magic, as anyone knows, it was confirmed that I had a spiritual calling, which I already knew, to be a dibia, and that I would be successful in doing it. And because, you know, my father's side of the family, they love to do their little black magic, I knew that they knew too that this was the case, and they wanted to stop this at any any way possible, anything that they could do. And so I really had to, before realizing what was the extent of the work being done, like, y'all, they went through and really tried to block every and each one of my chakras, each one of my energy centers, my stability within myself, my feeling of creativity and abundance, my sense of power and self. They tried to close off my heart. They tried to close off my throat so I wouldn't speak my truth and be my authentic self. They tried to block my third eye so that I couldn't see clearly and perceive things accurately. They tried to block my connection to the divine so I would feel misaligned. All of a sudden, I wouldn't be doing the things I would typically do to protect myself, like wear my crystals, or connect with my spiritual team. Out of nowhere, I would feel this, like, oh, I don't need to do anymore. That was a spiritual attack. I would not seeing my situation as clearly, like having my perception clouded. But what was actually in front of me, like, I was feeling so sad about, like, oh my gosh, it's taking forever for me to bring the things I wanted to fruition. And that was because they had a hand in that. And so as they had a hand in it, what they don't realize is that they were helping me build my internal strength, because each time I got knocked down, I kept getting back up. And when you get knocked down enough times, you get up again. You build your strength in your legs to the point that they try to knock you down and it's just a little sway. And so that is what I was learning. I was learning how to really, really see the darkest parts of how my mind can go and how my emotions can go, and still continue forward anyway, and still be resilient anyways, and to lean on my ancestors who are helping me make the way and have helped me clear the path forward. And these are ancestors we share, y'all. We share the same ancestors, but because they're not working for the light, they're not working with my ancestors, the ancestors that I walk with. And so, like, yeah, I found myself really sad that there were some things that weren't coming into fruition, and that's because of my perception. They have fucked with my perception of, like, reality. That here I am, like, I have time freedom, I have being freedom, I get to do and say what I want, I get to live where I want. Like, that's a blessing. Those are manifestations I called in years ago, and I'm living that life now. And because I wasn't seeing the blessing in the life that I was living now, I wasn't in the energy of abundance, that energy of seeing all that is around me, and the beauty and all that is around me, the gratitude of life that could help me usher in more abundance, and the abundance that is inevitably waiting for me. And it was like, until I got that spiritual guidance and I realized that, oh, I'm living my dream now. There is no future. Like, this is now. It is here. It is here, and I'm already living it. What am I stressed out about? What am I worried about? And again, they were trying to block my perception, because how I was perceiving the reality was creating that reality reflected back at me. So because I was seeing myself as stuck, I was creating the reality of stuckness in my life, because this is all about energy and vibration. And so the thought form of, oh my gosh, I can't do anything, I'm stuck, is attached to an energy that resonates with that reality in my life. And so it wasn't until I had to learn, like, how do I deal with these dark entities? How do I protect myself? How do I shift my perception so that they cannot even attack me, that they don't even have any sway over me? How do I do this so that I only can gain that strength and that insight within me, so that I can understand that at the end of the day, because I work for the light, because I'm coming from a heart-centered place, I cannot lose. And that deep knowing that I'm divinely guided and protected and highly blessed. The deep knowing. It wasn't a thought. I had to know it to experience it from all of the darkness and the attacks that I went through that they tried to do to me. Not them not understanding that they're just wasting their time and their energy and their money. Right? And so, and learning how to transmute this energy that is being sent to me for my highest good. And if you don't send me energy, don't be upset with how I use it. And so that gave me a lot to really think about and to think through. Let this rain cleanse the energy around, washing away any and all energies that are aligned to the highest light and the highest love, for my highest good and your highest good as well. Reset. And so that's just my story. I know, like, it's interesting because I feel like in the West, people don't really talk much about black magic. I mean, it's there. People know about it, but you're not really thinking about it as much as like, oh, jealousy and evil eye. But we live in a dual, we live in a world of one, of unity, that we perceive in duality. And those who practice and utilize their gifts for negative purposes or greedy purposes are there and out there. And I think it's important that even though I have gotten to a place where I am past that energy, that I share this, because honestly, when it comes to black magic, sometimes we think there are things that are ours and our own, but they're actually not. There are things that have been put upon us by others. And this is why I, as a spellcaster, I don't do any kind of magic against another person or any kind of magic to take away someone's free will. That's wrong to me. Like, even if it's like a love spell, or even it's like I want to make this person give me the job. Like, I find that to be wrong, messing with people's free will, and that's my opinion. That is the way in which I work in the world, because I wouldn't want anyone doing that to me as someone who has experienced the extreme of it. It doesn't feel good to have your free will or your energy tampered. And so I have a bump on my belly button, y'all. These mosquitoes. Oi. What else do I want to share? Yeah, they really tried to keep me stuck. They really tried to keep me small. And the last time I went to Nigeria, my auntie was definitely putting stuff in our food to try and, that's how they do their black magic. They put it in the food, you eat the food, and then you've ingested the magic they give to you. But because we didn't have a choice of what to eat, we ate the food, prayed over it and did what we had to do. But even then, that was still like a level of a fucked upness that I would never want to experience and will never experience again. There was a time when I woke up from bed and saw white powder on the bed. Just white powder just appeared, y'all. Appeared. One of my brother's shoes disappeared because they were going to use it to do black magic. It's stuff like that where if it might sound like crazy to people who don't know and understand that this world exists, but it's not, and it does. And it's unfortunate that it was my own family who was doing this because of their jealousy and their greed towards me and my family, without understanding that, in America, we grew up in the hood and we grew up poor and we didn't have it easy. And so, there's this perception that, you go to America, you make it to America and everything's good. But my father painted a very false image of the life we were living. And I had to work for everything I had. I didn't have anyone to help me up. I had to make it through with me and my spiritual team and Chineke, the universe. And so I'm gonna stop there because it's really raining hard and I'm getting drenched. But I wanted to just share that and just put it out there and speak my truth once and for all, to break the spell of silence and fear they tried to cast on me. To speak my truth, knowing that I have already won and there is nothing that they can do to me, period. And I'm on the other side of this energy with love. So thank you guys. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for being with me and listening and sharing this time and space. Wherever, whenever you are, I don't take it for granted. I am so grateful. Take care with love and peace.